Okay, welcome everybody to this Wedo.AI conference. We have this amazing opportunity to learn about AI within the Dynamics and the Microsoft applications. So it's a really good time to learn a little bit about AI and Copilot and all this new wave of applications that are embedded with artificial intelligence, this new world that we live in. So today my blog meets Wedo, and I'm going to speak about Copilot meeting finance and supply chain management applications. So what we're going to see today is how Copilot is embedded in these uh, Dynamics finance and supply chain management applications. How is helping the users to uh, shift to the AI techniques, and how is guiding those applications to go into an autonomous ERP and working with new and better features to help users driven in this AI world. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Mariano Martinez Melo. I'm an MVP of business applications for this 2024. I'm a principal solution architect in Axel Consulting for the last 10 years, and I'm also have like 10 to 12 years implementing Dynamics 365 for finance and supply chain. I'm also 3 times MCT for training teams in finance and supply chain. If you want to join my blog or get in touch with me in LinkedIn, I leave you those contacts that you see here in the screen. My LinkedIn, my blog, and my YouTube page for learning about finance supply chains or Copilot or anything you want. I am uploading videos every now and then, so I hope you can enjoy those. I'm also co-author for this book, which is the Becoming a Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management Consultant Associate. It's a book about supply chain management. How do you implement this solution? And it's a guide from zero to the certification for you to implement the supply chain process. You could see a lot of things in here, such as logistics, inventory, warehouse management, transportation management, uh, procurement and sourcing, sales and marketing, and so on. So I really recommend, not that I write it, but I really recommend for you, if you are starting with the supply chain world, it's a good way to start learning and improving your skills in those applications. Okay, so let's start with our topic. So what is Copilot? This is the first question that we have to ask. I know that everyone knows what Copilot is, and everyone has heard about this new um, artificial intelligence, but Copilot, um, to give you a starting point, Copilot is this automation assistance tools that is embedded with AI, which help us uh, mainly to work with our applications. It's embedded in our applications, and it's like a assistant. So I don't know if you remember, and you have my age and or be older or something like that, but if you remember the Clipo assistant that the Microsoft Office applications had in the past, it's something like that. is something like that, and is like a clipboard with with steroids. So have a lot of new tools and relates not only within our scope or within the scope of the application, but also relates with every ecosystem that we connected. Okay, so in first place, what we are going to focus now in um, this topic is working with Copilot in the finance and operation ecosystems, but you could um, you could connect Copilot, and if you go with Copilot Studio, you could connect Copilot with a lot of others applications and um, and systems, even though you have to know better how to do it, but you could do it. And if you see in this diagram in the screen, not only on the modern work and the Microsoft 365 world or the Dynamics 365 world that we are working today, but you could also connect it to the Power Platform ecosystem or GitHub or anything you want with the right way. The Copilot Studio feature or application can help you to add skills and add libraries and topics that Copilot could learn and help you when you ask it for information about that. Okay, in in the ERP ecosystem, uh, Microsoft is starting to give give a base or a foundation about Copilot that will help users or guide users in the first place and relate all these applications that years ago was disconnected, now are connected via Dataverse, and now with Copilot in the AI ecosystem features. So what Microsoft is starting to model is an ERP that is going to shift to an autonomous ERP. Okay, so in the first place, uh, there are several main applications that uh, englobe all the ecosystem of the ERP, which are the finance part of the ecosystem, the supply chain part of this ecosystem. Those tools are the two applications that we are going to focus today. But you also have the e-commerce part, so it is the e-commerce, brick-and-mortar stores, and so on. Human resources to work with people, and project operation if you have projects that you have to implement um, or financing projects and so on. You could use this project operation application that is embedded with Copilot, and when you have all of these tools interconnected, Copilot is going to help you to shift from one to another and ask information without changing your application and so on. In This is all mounted on the Microsoft Cloud application. So every connector in the Common Data Framework that you have, like Data Fabric, Azure Data, and AI, are interconnected with this. Also, the Microsoft 365 and Team applications. We are going to see some of those in the speaking of today. Microsoft Security and privacy are interconnected also. As we speak, that Azure OpenAI and Power BI with AI and analytics tools for these. And the one of the applications that we use a lot in the ERP industry are the low code applications such as Power Apps, Automate, and Power Page. which extend the applications for the ERP. Okay, so this is the ecosystem and the portfolio that Microsoft is giving us for working towards an autonomous ERP. So based on that, you could see that the solutions and the features that they are implementing and they are giving us are um, are shifting the old ERP ecosystem or system or thinking towards an autonomous ERP. So the first step that Microsoft is giving us is application of features to guide users in the ERP, such as the sidecar, which we can ask things to Copilot, and he's going to give us some response and so on. Um, the second step is to empower users in those applications. Then we're going to shift to features that ensure better decisions. Okay, so it's going to analyze a lot of information, and it's going to give us those analytics and those information for us to uh, take better decisions based on that information. So the role of the user is shifting progressively to have not only not to create and create reports and take notes and data entries and so on. Is shifting towards to a user that makes decisions. Okay, so a user that makes decision is it has to be informed. So those informations that is in every ERP in Dynamics 365 also is not an exception. So those informations that we need to create a Power BI or analytics and so on, the Copilot is starting to do it that with the power of the AI and ensure that we have those information as those reports to take better decisions. So it's not only doing that, and it's also giving us the response that which is the better decision that we could take. This is a guiding system or the ERP to the next step, which is are to apply autonomous actions. So to apply autonomous actions, not only the information needs to be correct, also the analytics have to be correct, and then the action that the AI has to take have to be correct for us to give that responsibility to the AI. So this is the shifting of the old ERP and the role of the user. The user was mainly focused to creating information, to creating reports, to creating analytics, and not to analyze those reports and analytics. And now it's shifting that AI is creating those analytics for us, and we have to make the decisions as users and as workers in the ERP. Okay, so let's start to focus the talk on which functionalities Copilot is bringing for finance and supply chain. So the first part I like to talk about is how you can experience Copilot within the finance and operation apps. For the first part is, or the first experience that you have is the sidecar, um, which is a menu on the left or on the right, sorry, on the application that you could write question and Copilot is going to ask to answer those questions. So it's like an assistant, a support that you have that you can chat about the things that you are doing, and Copilot is going to give the answers. Okay. The second is the embedded actions that or features that you have. So there are Copilot features that add these AI capabilities to the finance and supply chain application, and they bring all of these analytics that we are talking about before to the center of the application. So Copilot is analyzing for you, and you have the best information to start taking action or take action about this. And the other experience is outside of finance operation of AX, which are external agents to help to orchestrate this AI across different applications and tasks. For example, if you are going with Microsoft 365 Copilot, you could ask questions uh, on or about the finance operations information, and it's going to answer all about that. Or you could orchestrate several other agents and applications that connects with the finance and operation information, and you could work about that and start to making analytics or start to making decisions about those informations that uh, you could access outside the application. Okay. So let's start with working with the sidecar. So I'm going to shift to finance and operations. As you can see, I have an environment here of F&O. Going to move a little bit to the right, sorry, to the left. So here is our company, the company that we are working at, which is USMF. This is the Contoso standard company, so we're going to work about around that. And as you can see, we have our environment here. So in the right, at the right of the company, you will see this button that is the Copilot sidecar. So if you click there, Copilot's screen is going to show up, and we can start asking questions to Copilot. So do you have a question about this app? So let's ask something. For example, how can I create a purchase order? So we can ask to Copilot. Copilot is going to search in Microsoft Learn, and it's going to give us how we can create a purchase order in finance and operations. So, for example, he went to Microsoft Learn, and is giving us the following information. So go to procurement and sourcing, purchase orders, all purchase orders, click on new, select the vendor account to populate the default values. This is an example. Expand the general section to specify delivery details, specify the receipt date, expand the administration section to assign order and select OK, add a purchase order line by selecting the purchase order line, etc., etc., etc. So these steps is taken from the Microsoft Learn or the libraries that Microsoft added to this Copilot experience. So if we click in here, it's going to take us to the Microsoft Learn page, which are the steps associated to that. So as you can see, the Copilot sidecar is taking information on Microsoft Learn. But what happens if we go here to so this is guiding to procurement and sourcing. Let's go there, procurement and sourcing, which is here. Purchase orders or purchase orders. So what happens if we ask information to Copilot about the menu or the form that we are accessing here in financial operations? Uh, So okay, here is it load the purchase order. So let's ask, for example, show me a list of purchase orders that are from vendor, fabric, fabricant, supplier, which are uh, open. We could ask on Copilot Sidecar questions for this information, but what will happen is that as the experience of Copilot Sidecar is not interconnected with the finance and operations entities, what will happen is we are going to see that Copilot is start to giving us responses on how we could locate that information, but it's not going to give us the analytics of that. Okay, this is because we need to modify the Copilot experience working with Copilot Studio. So we could add to Copilot Studio the entities about the purchase orders and so on. And with that information, we can modify how we can access to that information. So it is possible to modify this to add these entities, but remember that Copilot Studio doesn't have a direct connector with finance and operations app. So if you need to do this, you need to move the information to Dataverse as a virtual entity or an entity or something that you want to um, to store that information, and then you need to connect the Copilot with the entity in the database, and you will have access to the financial operations information. Or you could use a data lake or another repository, but you don't have a direct connection from Copilot for finance operations to the entities of finance operations, which is weird, but this is this is the thing that we have until today. So I recommend, if you need to access this information, to work with Dataverse in the meantime. Uh, as an ERP user and implementator, I could love that Microsoft extend the entities that are on the finance and operations database, so we can access the information quickly with the Copilot Sidecar experience. But in the meantime, we don't have that, so we have to work as this. Okay, so this is the first part, which is the sidecar part of the demo. But as we speak earlier, we have some embed applications that are working on finance operations. For the first part is the finance application, the Copilot for Finance, which extend some of the finance experience by working with reconciliation reports or analyzing data in a quick way. Okay, so one of the first things we have is the Copilot for Finance that you could access in the home screen of finance and operations. And here you will see that you have activated the automated data reconciliations, which is going to compare two sheets in Excel. This is working over Excel, and with those two sheets, is going to compare information and tell you which transactions are matched and which transaction are unmatched. So you can give an analysis about that and have the information quickly, and you don't have to do it manually as uh, until today you have to do. So to access this, you could go quickly to the home screen in Finance and Operations. You will have this access for Copilot for Finance. If you go here, you will see that Copilot for Finance has two applications, which is for Outlook and for Excel. If you install here, it's going to give you wizard. Is going to access to a wizard that is going to guide you from the installation of this application for Excel. I have done that before, and if you see, I have here the Excel Online. Is It works on Mac and on PC for Copilot for Finance for Excel. But I'm going to show you here because it's easier for me to show it. But for example, we have here this sheet that have all the budget about a trip that we have. For example, a flight budget in $700, or transportation budget of 150, and so on. So this is a budget, and we need to match this budget with the bank statement of the user. So you can see here the transaction date, the type, the amount, and all the categories that are associated to that. So what we are going to do is compare these two sheets, the budget and the bank statement. So to do that, you have to access to the Copilot for Finance. You will find it here with this icon. And as you can see here, you have two options. The first one is to reconcile data, which is what we are going to do. And you have another thing that is coming soon, which is going to help you to analyze variance. This is to, for example, if you want to analyze a financial book or a budget versus the real transactions, and you need to analyze those trends, which cost center is spending more and which is the trend about that, what is the variance between the previous months and this month. You could have all of that, and it's going to shift to those functionalities. But for reconcile data, you have to click here. First thing that asks us is to select the two worksheets that have the information. In this case, it's going to select it automatically. So in the first part, you have the demo trip budget, and in the second worksheet is the demo bank statement. If you can see, it's asking us for a table. So one of the important things that for this to work is that information must be in a table format. If you don't have the information in a table format, you could not do the reconcile data functionality. So it's important for you to format the information that you have in a table. Once we select these two, we are going to click on next, and it's going to tell us, okay, select the columns for the demo, the both worksheets. So the first one is the trip budget table, so we can add the mapping columns for this, and if we're going to select that the date from the trip budget table, which is here, is going to relate with the transaction date of the bank statement. Okay, so we are going to compare those transaction date. So we have here the date and the date related. But we also need to associate, for example, which is the category, for example, which with the transaction category. So we could do that also, expenditure category with the transaction category, and we can also add a monetary column to relate the values. So we have the budget amount in the budget trip table and the amount column in the bank statement. So with all of this, we can do the matching or the mapping from the information. And if you go here to these 3 points, we can for example, say that you could add match partially the transaction date or the transaction category. So this is going to allow you, if, for example, in the transaction category of one sheet, you have flight, and in the other you have flights with the NS, is going to relate it anyways because it has a partial match. Okay. We're going to leave it as is and click on next, and he's going to analyze the data that we are setting up here, and it's going to give us a report. So if you can see here, uh, he has like 28 unmatched transactions, which are all of these, potentially matched transactions, which are all these four, and the matched transaction is not showing us here, but we can extend here, which are these 13 on the way. So you have this reconciliation report, and this reconciliation report has this information for you to share and to start match and working with that. So this is the first part of the Microsoft Finance, Copilot for Finance. The second part is regarding to the Outlook experience. So if we switch quickly to here through Outlook, and we can see that, for example, a vendor or a customer sent us an invoice, which this number, we say, hello, hello Mariano, you have here the invoice 88191. It has a value of $5,000 that you have to pay before September 20. Okay, this is uh, the message that the customer sent us, which an attached invoice. So what we can do here is associate this contact to the contact of a finance operation for. So you have here the button of Copilot for Finance. Okay. So you have here, for example, the complement that is says Copilot for Finance. What it will happen is like it's going to open a sidecar here on the left, which is going to summary our email. It says the sender sent Mariano invoice number 88191. The invoice detail payment is payment amount of $5,000, and the payment is required to be made before September 20. Okay, this is the summary of the information that we have here on the email, and it's going to do a thing that is going to search in finance and operations if the customer is associated to a customer in the system. So if you can see here, Alpine Sky House from the USSI company is associated with this email. That is my email, but it's associated with this email. And if you click here, you're going to see the customer detail information, which is Alpine Sky House, the customer number, the street, city, region, and so on, and the contact information that is saved in Dynamics, which is mine. Mariano Martinez, I'm a salesman, this is my phone, and this is my email. If you don't have this information, it's going to show up a button, so you could associate or create this contact and associated to a customer in finance and operations. Okay, this is the other thing that is associated with Copilot for Finance. This part of the ERP that is Copilot for Finance that is not embedded in the first directly in finance and operation, but is embedded in Excel and Outlook. Okay, to install those, you have to go here and install both of these applications. Okay. The other thing that Copilot for Finance is working at is the summaries. Okay, they have several summaries even in finance and supply chain. The first summary that you could see here is the customer summary and the workflow summary that is related to the application. So if we go, for example, to financial operations, and we go to accounts receivable, customer, and all customers, we're going to select a customer in the first place, and we're going to see that this customer is associated. So this customer has information, and here in Summary by Copilot, it's going to generate a summary on a status and an insight of this customer of the behavior that it has on the last period. For example, in the status, Copilot says that in the last year there were 3 post-customer invoice totaling 3,983 with 38 cents with the same amount outstanding. No customer payments were made on this period. Additionally, there were 2 sales orders with the status invoice amounting $1,450. The number of the sales orders with the status delivered was 74, while 32 orders remained open. There were no sales agreements on hold or effective, and are not active rebate agreements or deals during this time frame. And in the inside part, we have the following information. Over the last year, there have been 3 overdue customers invoices totaling 3,983 with 30 cents, with a maximum overdue period of 127 days for invoice number 181. The highest overdue amount of 2,536 with 38 cents was also associated with the invoice 181. Additionally, there were 30 delayed sales orders line and 2 sales orders were invoiced but not confirmed. So it's going to give us this summary of the behavior of this customer that we could relate, or it's going to save us the time to analyze all of this information in the first time. So we have not only a sales behavior, not only an invoice summary of this customer, but also how many days the last invoice is delayed or not, if we have sales agreement, if we have rebate agreements, and so on. So it's a full analytics of the customer, a full summary of the customer, and we can see this information quickly and react to this. For example, by reducing the credit limit of this customer if we need to, because I don't know, we have more than or half a year of delayed on invoice on this amount, and we could decide to reduce that credit limit. So this is going to give us a quick and responsive way to deal with this. Another of the things that we've seen in the PowerPoint is relating to the procurement and sourcing and the workflow summary that Copilots bring us. So, for example, let's go through this order. I don't know, or once that I have access to the approval. I think these last orders are for approval. Yes, for example, this order that is in review, we could access here to the workflow and see in more, we can see the workflow history. Okay, the workflow history part, in each version that we have, we have this tracking detail list and tracking details and so on that give us some information that in which step of the workflow we are placed on. But here with Copilot, we have a summary that says that, for example, this workflow indicates that the tax was submitted by Pierre Henry on July 30. The submission comment reads, please approve, approve quickly. Currently, the status task is pending. The task is assigned to Pierre Henry with a due date of January 6 on the 2025. So this is giving us not only when was submitted, but also who has it and until which time is he or she has to approve this workflow. Okay, so it's a quick summary, which again is leading us to take action about that. So we can call Pierre, or we can recall this and modify it, or we can send an email. I don't know. This is giving us quick information for us to analyze and not to start asking who has this purchase order to approve and reviewing and so on. Okay. There is a collection coordinator details that is workspace that has financial operations, which allow us to have a summary of not only the customer but also the balance and the payment information and the customer activity. If we switch quickly to AX, we can see here in the modules, we're going to credit and collections, and we have here the collection coordinator workspace. So in this workspace, what we are going to see is all the customer balance. And if we, for example, select one of the customer, let's say we are going to select US 001, we can go to, well, he is going to summarize the activity for this customer. For example, it has an overview balance. So we create an activity that is to send an email, or for example, we have created another activity to follow up on promise to pay broken, and is still ongoing. Okay, so those are the activities we can create or close new activities. We can have we have here the highest balance and the age balance of this customer, and if we go here to the view customer details, we will have some AI analyzed information regarding to this customer. For example, which are the payments that this customer made, and so on. So here we have the balance and payment history that Copilot made for us that says Contoso Retail San Diego has a payment history of no data available. So it's never paid us. So the customer has been sent 3 invoices in the previous 6 months. This customer has a balance of this money to be paid, which 3,143 with 26 cents is overdue. Their last payment was received on 18.5 for an amount of $268. The remaining credit amount is with of this amount. Okay, so it says that San Diego Contoso Retail Center has an excellent credit rating and recently default on this amount of money. So why it has an excellent credit rating? Because of the $500,000 that he has. It only used $49,000. Okay, and in this part we have the age balance of this customer for the overdue invoice that has over 180 days and over, and the invoice that has 30 days. Okay, so we have here this collection coordinator workspace that help us quickly to understand and work with this information is analyzed, so we don't have to shift in between invoice, in between payments, and which was the last time that the customer paid us. So the last payment was received in this date. So we have a lot of information quickly here on the screen, and we don't have to analyze. We now take action about this. Okay. Shifting to supply chain, we have also summaries here and then. For example, the product summaries, there is a hover, so we can hover over a product and we can get a summary about it. So let's do it. We're going here again to the procurement and sourcing, to a purchase order, so we can access quickly to a purchase order. We see for example this, and if I'm here to the item number, I can hover quickly to the item number, and it's going to show us a summary about this product with the standard information that the product has, and in the left we can access to a summary by Copilot, which says this product with 5 item model group weighs 3 pounds, and with these dimensions, the purchase price is $12 per box and the sales price is $45 per piece. Default storage in the warehouse with various tracking dimensions, price last updated on this date, and so on, so on, so on. We have here a pretty good summary, which again is taking information from anywhere in the system and is doing this summary for us to quickly understand the behavior of this product, which are the prices, how is the stock, or which has the last purchase price, or so on. If we have, for example, contracts or purchase price with the vendor, is going to show here, and so on. So again, summary information that is helping us to have a better understanding of which is happening with the products. Another feature that is displayed on the warehouse management app is again a summary, and in this case the summary is showing us information about the products that we are associated, okay, or the works that we have associated to our warehouse. So for example, here in warehouse 24, we can have an overview of work headers, and we have one work associated with counting, 15 work associated to inbound, and 5 associated to outbound. And it says here, for example, there are 5 pick work lines and 15 receive work lines. Currently, there are 5 warehouse devices online in. So this is a summary of pending information or pending transaction that we could have in our warehouse. Okay. Another feature is over the demand planning application. Demand planning application is an application that helps companies to project their sales, forecast their sales in various data models that is going Microsoft or the world is applying to these processes. So Copilot help us here to analyzing this demand plan, and we can compare periods. Okay, so let's shift over the applications to see this functionality. So I quickly open the application. It has a loading time, so I did it off camera. So to access the demand planning application, you could go on the home screen, and in the demand planning part of the app, you could access, and it's going to shift you from here. As you can see, we have here also a sidecar copilot that is going to help us, for example, uh, to explore, to analyze and move around the application. For example, we can ask what are the forecast profiles I created in the last week, and he's going to respond to us. In this case, it's all this is all demo data, so it's not going to answer us anything because we don't create any forecast profile in the last week. But we could chat and ask Copilot to analyze some of our information with this sidecar part. But if we go here under the worksheets and, for example, we can analyze one of our plans. Let's analyze the forecast model comparison, which is comparing the 2023 profit with the ARIMA model of the sales data. So it's projecting from January to December. This was on the 2023 information, so that is why it's showing us this. And if we hover over the graphics, we can see here, for example, in pink, there is the auto ARIMA information, and in blue, there is the profit information, these two models. And we can compare, for example, clicking in the dots. For example, if we need to compare the profit model information, we can click here and we can ask Copilot for the largest shift from April to May on the same year, or the same month but the last year. So we can compare those both years. Let's compare month to month. So if we click here, the Copilot is going to show us quickly a lot of info. Here that it says the 10 largest shifts contributing to the change in demand are the following. So car audio unit 65 black in store 2 has increased 19% or 163 units. And the same for the top 10 information. So we can quickly here have a large chunk of data analyzed and see why, for example, we are dropping from 93,000 units to 72 in this module. Okay, why we dropped this much? And we can say that these are the 10 largest changes in demand from month to month. Okay, this is a quick way to analyze data and having the information quickly in screen. Another thing that demand planning and Copilot are resolving for the next periods is working with information that are associated to, again, analyzing plan, but it's going to give us graphics, data, and reports that we can quickly store or send by email, so we can have the whole period analyzed, the trend analyzed in demand planning, and we can send that over the of the email or having a report and so on. One of the greatest changes that supply chain has related to Copilot is this workspace that help us to review and accept change to confirm purchase order. So we are going to see this screen, and in this screen we have the summary of the impacts on the change that we have on a purchase order. Let's say, for example, that we have a purchase order with a customer, with a vendor, and the vendor changed the delivery date of that. So that is going to impact our process because I don't know, we have a sales order associated to that purchase order that's going to delay, or we could have a um, production order that is related to that raw material we are purchasing, and is going to delay that manufacturing order or that production order, and that is going to impact in a lot of orders. So we have a downstream that is going to be impact about those orders that is analyzing in this workspace. So for example, here we have the low impact orders that are showing here, the high impact order, and so on. So if we click an order, for example, if we click this order, it's going to show in the left which items this order have, and finally which are the downstream impacted orders related to these purchase orders. Okay. For example, if we click the last order, the item number is M004, which is a crossover product. Here we could have a quantity change, so we have a reducing on 163 units of this order by the customer. So all of these production lines and plant Kanban are impacted related to this. Okay. So what can we do on this? First thing we can do is confirm the purchase order that have a change, or we can send an email or a Teams message. If we click on send email, it's going to open a previously or an AI generated email informing the vendor that we have this impact and we need to renegotiate this purchase order, for example, or so on. But we can deliver this to an email, or we can alert the production teams or the PCP teams or so on to have aware that we have a purchase order that has changed, and it could affect our times. Okay, so they need to manage that. For example, they could have changed a production order, or I don't know, negotiate with the sales teams and so on. So again, this is giving you the awareness that you could have problems on your supply chain regarding on the impact on the changes of the purchase order that you have. And finally, the last part that we have here is the Microsoft 365 Copilot for supply chain, that you could ask information in the Microsoft 365 Copilot, and for example, asking about availability of a product or stock, and Copilot is going to give you a response on the environment that you could have associated with this. This is out of the box. The only thing that you need to have for this to work is to install the inventory visibility add-in, which is a commerce and a Dataverse application which connects all the inventory applications from commerce with finance and operations inventory. And if you have a reserve inventory from one application or another, you could have the information there quickly and easy to use. And Copilot connects with that application to give you this information. Okay, so that's the whole talking that I have about Copilot for Dynamics and supply chain. This is until today, uh, which is August in 2024. But I know that in next version there are new features that is coming out of the box for Copilot. Copilot is growing fast and rapidly in the ERP, and it is also shifting all to an autonomous ERP driven by the AI. So we need to keep learning and keep aware that a lot of changes is going to be made on that. So thanks to everyone for joining this talking, and thanks to for of the Wedo.AI team for accepting my session in and adding to their page. And see you next time. You can contact me on every. If you have question, you can contact me directly for every link that I have. And again, see you next time. Bye bye.